Well, hello everybody. My name is Trent. You're sitting here with me and Betsy. This has Never Seen It. Welcome.
Hello, everyone.
Today we're going to be covering another Oscar-nominated movie. Finally, we're getting more of these movies to come to our town. Today we're going to be covering the movie that is on everybody's lips and has been for a very long time. You know it. I know it. It's The Brutalist.
It's on everyone's lips for a number of reasons.
Because, hey, I feel like this movie is just born and bred to be nominated for an Oscar. But I'm going to say I don't really feel like this is Oscar bait, in my opinion.
No, I think it is one dude's vision of an American epic, and it just happens to be good enough that it captured the attention of the Academy.
And its trajectory, my understanding here is that, you really went for it here, and we're going to put this out at Christmas time because we already know it's going to be nominated for Best Picture, so why not have it in theaters for, around the Oscar time? But anyway, The Brutalist, Betsy, what do you know about this movie?
This is the longest movie of my entire life. No, it's long. It's like over 3.5 hours.
It is approaching 4 hours
It is approaching 4 hours, but everybody's very excited because the filmmaker included an intermission, an honest to God, old-fashioned epic movie intermission where it has the numbers on the screen so you know exactly how long you have to get up.
Really?
It is like a serious intermission so you can get up, go fill your food, go to the bathroom, do what you got to do, stretch your legs because you've got this many minutes and the clock is ticking.
Yeah, this is only the second movie we have covered on any of our shows that have an intermission. The other one being, of course, Patton, when the Wayback Machine sent us back to 1970, I think.
We've had a couple other ones, but there's like different ways they call it. So when we watched The Sound of Music, it is an entr'acte, which is, it's an intermission. It's just a fancy word for it.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, so we've had a few, but none for a movie with this kind of a runtime. Usually, one half is longer than the other. And I think this one, as far as I know, is a pretty even split. That's the main thing people are talking about this movie. But as far as the movie itself, I know that the star is Adrien Brody, and there is a lot of talk that maybe he's going to win another Academy Award, which he has not done in 20 years. And I think we're probably going to talk at length about Adrien Brody because he's one of those guys that for a while, like when we were in college, was everywhere. And I feel like he kind of disappeared, and this is him coming back.
Yeah, he's an actor that Hollywood was trying to make a thing, but he just didn't stick anywhere.
So we'll see when we watch the movie if we agree with the assessment that this is easily the best thing he's done in 20 years. The other people who are in it, I know Felicity Jones is in it, and Guy Pearce, who are also both supposed to be really good. The guy who made it is, I don't know if it's Brady Corbet or Brady Corbett.
I'm going to say Corbett.
I've heard it both ways. He is a guy that has made a few directorial things. He's also an actor. The only one of his movies, we looked it up, that we've heard of is Vox Lux. We haven't actually seen any of his movies, though.
No, that's another one of those movies that came out. People had anticipation for it. Turns out it was not very good, and it went away.
But all that to say, I don't know what kind of filmmaker this guy is because until he started getting nominated for this movie, had never heard of the man.
Yeah, and at the very least, he has been in the industry for a long time, and he is also very outspoken. In the press tour for this thing, Brady Corbett has just been coming out there and saying all sorts of stuff about Hollywood and the studio system, and people wouldn't give him money for his vision, and somebody finally did, and this is the result.
This is like a giant independent epic.
Yes.
That he is it's kind of a manifestation of what he's trying to make. It's like a scrappy little American trying to make the American dream come true. And his is to make this big movie. And then as far as what the movie is about, it's about post-World War II. This Hungarian architect leaves Europe, comes to America, and he becomes an architect again. He's not doing that. He's, scraping by because when you move to America and you've got no fucking money, like a lot of people didn't have, they had nothing when they came here.
Yeah, post-war, this guy is coming here with nothing. He doesn't have a name behind him. And if he does, it's tied to what was in Europe, and who in America knows what the hell European architecture really looks like. But he had a vision. And by the title, The Brutalist, that is an architectural style, which, again, my understanding, I don't know anything about architecture, but my understanding is it's very like cold concrete, modern kind of stuff. So this is also a fictional tale.
Yeah, this is not a real person.
This is not a real person. This is not a real story. Everything here is made up. But like you said, all these people, I love Guy Pearce. I wish Guy Pearce would have had a much bigger career, because everything that I've ever seen him in, he's always fantastic.
He's so reliable, and he's rarely the star. So again, we'll save those conversations for when we see his performance, because it's, again, one of the best things he's done in a really long time.
Yeah, so, and besides that, I don't really know anything about the plot here. It's him coming to America, finding Guy Pearce, and he is also finding, hey, there's a lot of prejudice against him and his family, and, you know, the things that you were talking about during this time.
It's an American tale, basically. It is people coming to America trying to fulfill their dream.
All right, and with that, I think we're going to go and watch The Brutalist. We're going to load up on popcorn and soda. We're going to fuel up for you guys. We will be right back. And we have returned. We have survived the journey to the theater and saw The Brutalist. Betsy, what did you think about that?
I'm still marinating in that whole movie, because even though it's almost 4 hours long, it didn't really feel like it was that long. And I don't know if it was because I was mentally prepared to have a break in between, so my brain is already pre-programmed to know you're going to get a little pause, a reprieve, while you think about the first half of the movie and then come back for the second half.
And think about this. I think we as people, this society, we have also kind of primed ourselves for such a thing with the idea of binge watching a television series, or like maybe just the first season of something or the first half of a season, stuff like that. People have committed worse crimes in the vein of, you know, sitting on the couch and completely going through that. But I'm kind of with you, where I was completely okay with the runtime of this movie. It's just there are distinct parts. Literally, there's part one, and then there's part two after the intermission.
And then there's an epilogue.
Then there's a very short epilogue. So I think the pacing, I think, is what we really want to talk about here. The pacing of the movie is, I think, very well done in the first part. I didn't really like the second part as much, though.
That is the kind of thing I've been hearing. Like, people who liked the movie but didn't love the movie have more problems with the second half, because it is definitely very different and distinct from the first part.
Yeah.
I think overall I probably would say I liked this movie. I think there are elements of it that are very meditative and beautiful.
Yeah,
and
it allows you to have that time with it.
Yeah, you're just sort of studying what you're looking at.
Yeah.
And that part of the movie I really liked. But I was also just trying to figure out this feeling I was having. I'm looking at this movie and I'm like, there's a word. What is the word? What am I trying to express watching this movie? And I'm just realizing there is this terrible sadness through the whole movie.
Yeah,
this
that's
undercurrent of just devastation. And it's not like always at the surface, but it's always there.
Like, where is the joy in this movie?
No.
It doesn't really exist.
No, this is a movie about people who went through a one of the most horrible things that has ever happened. At least that is, in recorded history, and certainly in recent history for us watching this movie in 2025.
Yeah.
And they have nothing, and they come to America, and when they get there, it doesn't get better. Like, you have the illusion that it's getting better. Like, what you're seeing is the illusion that he's finally struck some good fortune and things are turning, and it's never really true.
And I think us as moviegoers, again, we are kind of programmed to witness what's going on here and think, okay, he's going to make it. He's got all these great things happening for him. His family, he's got a great hookup to get his family over here. They're going to do great as soon as I get over here. It's going to be a grand old time. But as I mentioned before, there is no joy in this movie whatsoever, except for, the very, very few times where people are, imbibing their libations and having a dance in a tunnel somewhere. But even the moments where you think there is going to be just absolute joy on people's faces and elation and whatever else, even when his wife and niece get off the train, he is immediately reminded of what they were going through. He had no idea that his wife is now in a wheelchair. And instead of what you were hoping to have, especially right after the intermission, he's told, yes, we got a great hookup here. The lawyer is going to try to get him over here, and they do. But you don't get that. He is immediately on his knees and asking, what happened to you? Who hurt you? So even the moments where you think it is going to be, you're going to get some kind of levity, it's just not here. And I think that's by design.
Absolutely. Like, this guy making this movie, Brady Corbett, he's playing with a lot of themes. But the major one is, America kind of sucks. Like, I think that's sort of the message here. Like, we have this grand idea of America. People who are not from, especially in like the early 1900s, the mid 1900s, this idea of America being this wonderful, welcoming place where our arms are open to you and you can fulfill the American dream.
And when we were kids, we were even told that we were the envy of the world. Everybody wanted to come to America because we are the land of opportunity for every single person on the planet.
But meanwhile, even when his luck looks like it's about to turn around, the people around him, like when the son says, we tolerate you.
Yeah.
Like, we are using you for the thing that you are good at. Your skill set has a limited value to us. Like, the speed with which some of these people say really inappropriate things that they're thinking, and they say them out loud.
Yeah, and they would have been completely okay with him coming home and him dismissing them as they're redoing his library. He would have been completely okay with that, but it got him some notoriety in the press. Look magazine put him in there because, hey, look at the pretty study that they made for him.
It's modern and it's what every person should have.
And it put him on the fucking map. He was in a magazine in the 1950s. That's huge. So what does this rich guy do? He looks him up, he pays him what he owes him, and he recruits him to continue on that notoriety. Get his name out there some more and maybe get some more money.
He's a benefactor. And that's how in a lot of these movies where you're an artist and you need people like this to create your vision and actually be successful in the thing you've been trained and are good at and love doing. Unfortunately, you need money. And the money usually comes with a lot of fucking strings.
Yeah, and they're desperate.
And when you're desperate, yes, you are willing to accept things. But, they try. Like, I like how in the movie, Laszlo tries to dig his heels in and say, I have some fucking pride. I am not some nobody. Like, they are very good at establishing this guy was extremely well educated. He had a good business going. He and his wife are, quote, the better ones. If you put it into the parlance of these rich white people in America, like, oh, well, yes, they are this and this and this, but they're the better ones because they're educated and they speak English and they're presentable. So we can tolerate them within our society.
Yeah, and they're also using them to make it seem like, they are tolerant and they're okay with, people like that. But like you said, his wife went to fucking Oxford. She studied English at Oxford and then went back. And that right there is not an uncommon thing, where people from this part of the world, I mean, even in Asia, people go to study English because they know that English is the universal language. And if you understand English, it opens up a lot of doors for you, especially if you think that you're going to have to escape to America.
Or you just want a job like she did, which is in journalism. She wanted to write. And it is extremely useful if you can hop around the world if you speak English. But these are people who came from that background and fucking terrible things happened to them and tragedy ripped them apart. and he manages to get to America, and now he's working in a fucking, like, shoveling coal.
Yeah.
He's shoveling coal and doing construction. Like, are you working on any projects? I'm building a bowling alley.
Right. Yeah.
You know, the way their fortunes have changed, it is so drastically different. They literally nothing. They had fucking nothing. He cannot even get his wife. Like, first, he doesn't even know his wife's alive. And he just gets there, and the first news he receives from his cousin is, I got a letter, she's alive. And he spends years trying to get her over. So these are the fortunes of this person. This is how we set this up. This is how we are introduced to Laszlo. Like, life is fucking hard, but he does not want to be a beggar. He does not want to plead with people to give him things. He has a lot of pride, and he wants to do this work. And when he's given an opportunity, he has this kind of spark with this rich dude, with Van Buren. And he thinks that they kind of speak the same language, and he's got this opportunity to do something really similar to the person he used to be.
Yeah, I also think that there is this skepticism in the back of Laszlo's head because he was already introduced to the asshole portion of this other guy's personality.
He already saw that. That was what he started with.
Immediately, he comes out guns blazing, talking about the fucking Negro in their front lawn who's scaring his mother who's about to die.
Yeah, so if that scene didn't tell you this man is bad,
yeah.
I don't know what does.
Yeah, so he already knows who this guy is, but at the same time, he knows that he could take advantage of it. I mean, he's got these latent skills that he knows how to build fucking buildings. He knows how to plan this stuff.
And use light and make it interesting.
Totally. And he's got, I mean, I didn't really realize until the end of the movie, what he's building here is an approximation of what it was like to be in a concentration camp. The claustrophobia of it.
And the coldness of it.
And the coldness of it. And the only thing that you have is to look upward. That is your freedom. You can see the stars even though you are in this cramped place.
Yeah, he built this giant thing with a secret message, basically.
Yeah.
And they don't say this at all until the epilogue of the movie.
Yeah.
Literally, you don't know why he's making this building that's supposed to be a monument to this rich guy's mother the way it is. It's
supposed to be a community center where people can just come hang out.
But it is concrete and steel, and it is so jarring to look at. But that is just quintessential mid-century modern America.
Brutalist. That's the name of the movie.
But that is also mid-century.
Yes.
That is what we were doing at this time. People were channeling this kind of energy into these harsh, buildings and this quirky furniture, and it's very, very specific to this time in America.
And you can just look at the movie itself, just to kind of pinpoint what we're talking about here. There is hardly any color to this movie whatsoever. The tones are extremely cold. There's hardly any sunlight to be seen, no blue skies, nothing. Not even like green grass anywhere or trees or anything, even though they're outside a lot of the time.
There is grass, but it's always like,
it's dead.
It's nighttime
it's
or dark.
Yeah. So at the end of the movie, the wife wants to leave because her niece went to Jerusalem along with her husband and they were going to have a baby. She wants to be there to be the quote unquote grandmother to this kid.
Because they don't have any children themselves.
Yeah. They have a good thing going over there. And she says there, you know what? You're right. They don't want us here. This place is fucking ugly. The country is rotten. And she doesn't feel like there is any kind of future for her here because even though she has a job, she's contributing to whatever she's making money. Her skills are being wasted at this newspaper, wherever she's working, because she's writing about makeup and hairstyling and shit like that for women.
She's writing fluff pieces, basically.
Yeah, her skills are not being put to good use.
But again, if you don't think the filmmaker is saying something about where we live by having this conversation, like America is rotten and the American dream is bullshit, and you can't come here and feel joy and make a success story for yourself.
It's not an automatic thing.
No.
Just because you're here, yes, it is better than where you came from, for sure. But it doesn't mean that it's an automatic thing and anybody is going to be welcoming to you.
Yeah, this is a movie about how, the American dream is pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You can do all the things you want to and make it here in America. But the reality for him is, I tried. Everything was fucking terrible. Nobody wanted us here. And it became too great a struggle. And so he had to go do it somewhere else.
Yeah, and he couldn't do it by being himself. When he came over and his cousin meets him there, he's living with them. And he basically realizes, oh, my cousin is no longer allowed to live the way that he was living before. He changes his name. He converts to Catholicism, marries a Catholic girl from Connecticut, and has a furniture business.
He basically buries who he used to be.
Yes.
His name is Attila, and he still goes by Attila, but he changes his last name to Miller. And he adopts this really weird American accent. And he just distances himself completely from the person he was and the people he comes from.
Yeah.
He's been there 8 years, which means he would have come basically at the start of the war.
Yeah, and
he
the reason
got
why,
the hell out of there.
Yeah, the reason why he did this is because, hey, Americans like how this looks. They appreciate, hey, it's a family business. And I don't know anybody with that last name, but I do know people named Miller.
He basically knows that to make it in America, you cannot be who you actually are.
You have to conform.
You have to fake it till you make it. And his cousin is the version of, I am a success because I threw out everything I knew and understand and was and said, fuck it, I'm an American now. And when Laszlo shows up and, they hit a wall, he's like, no, you're going to fuck up this good thing for me. Get the hell out.
Yeah.
Because this is your fault, not my fault.
Yeah, and that turn there was really abrupt. I didn't really understand that like all the way.
Because I think he is threatened by the idea that he could lose this American dream that he's actually been able to achieve.
I suppose.
He has conformed the way that America expects him to conform, and it's been working for him. And his cousin, who kind of refuses to conform, he says, that's not your name, and you're Jewish, and I don't understand.
The cousin here is passing, for lack of a better word. He's passing for an American. When Laszlo shows up looking the way he does and sounding the way he does, he is an outsider. He is a foreigner. 100%, you can't hide that. So instead, he builds him up by saying, yeah, he was this great architect from Eastern Europe and he's world renowned and everything else like that, just to pass him off as somebody that, okay, he can work on this bullshit.
And yeah, something you said there struck me while I was watching the movie. He doesn't look like everybody else. Laszlo, the entirety of the movie, dresses like a European. He does not dress like an American.
Totally.
Like the way he's always wearing a really dark coat that it kind of feels out of season and out of place amongst all of the other coats. Like he didn't just go and buy a new coat. He's still wearing his old coat that he brought with him.
Right.
He's always got the shirt buttoned all the way to the top, never wears a tie. If you look at all of the other guys in the late 40s and early 50s, they're wearing hats. They have little mustaches.
Yeah, the only time he is wearing a quote-unquote normal suit is when he's working for that agency in New York.
But he never wears a hat. I don't think he wore a hat one time in this movie, and that was such an American man thing in the 1940s and 50s.
Just the yarmulke.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It is such a distinct thing that is missing from his outfit. It's not part of his persona because that isn't him. They wore hats in Europe, but I think it's probably a choice of the costumer to say, well, this guy doesn't wear a hat because it makes him stand out that much more.
He's exposed. He's 100% exposed. He cannot hide from anything. He is who he is.
And you know who was wearing a hat when he first found him? His cousin. His cousin has adopted the entire American persona.
Well, Betsy, part of our American persona is that we have to advertise to people our products and services. So we're going to take a quick break for a word from our sponsor. We'll be right back. This season, give yourself the gift you've always wanted. It's not a new car, and certainly not diamond jewelry. It's premium podcasts from the industry's leading connoisseurs of conversation. For only $5 a month, you will receive the most privileged access to their entire catalog. Patreon.com/NeverSeenItPod. Only the best for the discerning listener. So, Betsy, with all of that already being said, this movie got nominated for Best Picture. I didn't really know exactly what I was going to get out of it, except for this story about a guy and his family coming to America during a really difficult time in their life and in the world. But did you get the point of the movie? Is really my question here. Like, was there a point? What is the message coming out of this thing?
I think so. It's what I've been saying. I think America sucks and we treat people badly and the American dream doesn't exist anymore, maybe. Like, I think it's a cynical movie. Very much so.
Okay.
I definitely think, as I said, I would need to marinate with this one again because I was feeling a lot of things and I had a lot of thoughts. You're right. There's sort of not a lot that happens in it because he arrives. You know, we see some little scenes of him getting there and getting settled in. He meets this rich guy. He gets enlisted to do this big project. His wife comes over. Everything sort of falls apart. Jump to 20 years later at the end of his life.
I think if there is a word to describe this movie, it is about conformity. Okay? So he comes there. He finds out his cousin is doing all this stuff to try to fit in. He's not all about that. He gets kicked out. Then he's in squalor, basically, until he is rediscovered by this rich guy. And the rich guy, I think, is maybe the most interesting character of the entire movie. Guy Pearce plays this guy as this, you know, not quite rough and tumble guy, but I could not really pinpoint what he reminds me of or who he reminds me of. But he's almost this prim and proper dude who likens himself to be this big important man, but I don't think he actually is.
No, he's new money because he's a self-made man. Like, he tells that story about his grandparents and his mom. His mom was pregnant before she was married and had him and kept him. And her parents completely cut her off. And so that was like the mentality he had. So he basically is the embodiment of, I can do it. And maybe you can too.
Yeah.
But he's not a good person. Like, he's a terrible fucking person. But he's juxtaposed with Laszlo, who is trying and trying and trying, and he cannot get out of his situation. Because the other thing this movie is about is the fucking pain and trauma that this whole group of people went through and carries with them the rest of their life, quite literally and physically. The thing I didn't know about this movie, he has a drug addiction. Like,
horrible one.
He is in physical pain every single day of his life. When he's finally, after years, reunited with his wife, she can't walk. She's in a wheelchair because of malnutrition. She was starved nearly to death and has osteoporosis in her 40s, basically. And so she wakes up screaming in the middle of the night because the pain is so unbearable. Like, they both have to take pain medication to just live every day.
Yeah, and
like they carry the fucking scars of what they went through.
Yeah,
all the time.
in these camps and just going through that, you get the physical pain, you get the mental pain, you have all this stuff pent up inside of you, and to top it all off, he basically has this chronic pain that will never go away as a result of him like throwing himself or falling off of a train, and that's like what fucked up his face. Like, talk about his nose. Like, that woman, the Catholic woman, says, "Oh yeah, I know somebody who can help you with that nose of yours."
Yeah, basically, we can fix you and make you the way you're supposed to be in America.
Yeah.
I think it's also a comment about having a Jewish nose,
Yes.
quote unquote.
Yes, that is the not so subtle subtext. Which, hey, Adrian Brody, that's just what he looks like. Okay?
Yeah, that's just his face.
That's just his face. He is very Jewish. It's just what it is.
So yeah, there's thematically many things happening in this movie, which is why I think when you're saying what was the point of it, I think it's a study in how do you overcome this and how do you handle these things, and is there such a thing as the American dream anymore? Or even if there was at the time that this movie takes place, it wasn't for everybody.
Yeah, and even, like, think about this. Even though when they go to New York, when the project is completely scrapped, There's a train derailment. All of their supplies get strewn everywhere. Everything is ruined. There's lawsuits that are going to be thrown at him because people get hurt on the train. I don't know how that relates to this guy.
They kind of explained it, but in the chaos, it was hard to catch. They used their own people and they used their own like equipment and trains to get all of this stuff because he's got unlimited resources.
Yeah, so what?
He's responsible. They were his guys, his train, his stuff. So if there's an accident, he could be liable. He could be at fault for this, which is why they have to pull the plug until they resolve everything.
Okay.
Because if they die, they're going to be like suing his ass. So he's like, we just need to stop.
I mean, I can get past that. I mean, that right there doesn't really make any sense to me, knowing what I know about transportation. But
listen,
that's a separate thing. I don't want to get down that
transportation
hole.
Now you understand, but this is the 1940s, 1950s.
Still, I don't care. But the project is scrapped. He and his wife go to New York. They both have their own jobs. They both have an income, and they're staying there with the niece. And I don't know if she's actually living there, but it doesn't really matter. They've got a thing going on here. I don't know how good it is, but they have their own place. They're making their own money. They're making their way.
They're figuring it out.
Yes. So what's wrong with that? Why? I mean, I understand maybe the pride thing of, hey, he called me back. He wants to finish the project and I have another source of income. I can do the thing that I wanted to do. I don't have to work for somebody else, even though he's actually working for somebody else here.
That's his whole problem. Like, he takes pride in his work and he finally thinks he can make it. Like, maybe I could have my own firm. Maybe I could be a name in this. Like, architects are the kind of people that they want to make their mark. There are very few architects, I guarantee, that you and I can name.
Totally.
But to people who care about architecture, those people are fucking geniuses. They are heroes to them. And that is how these people are brought up. Like, they look up to other architects and they want that same kind of respect and they want to create something that lasts.
Yeah.
And that's part of the thing with like steel and concrete. There are towns that have had massive fires and they're leveled. There's just nothing left. Well, it's because they were made of wood. Like, they used the trees and lumber to build their towns. But the monuments that stand are made of stone. They are made of concrete. They are made of things that he is using. So there's also something there about, yes, it's very cold and, you know, really bare bones, that brutalist style, but it's also gonna fucking stay there. It is not going anywhere because he designed it to have some serious permanence. But working at another firm, he's got to do what they say. He's got to do their version of the American dream and getting by. He's getting by. It's not his American dream,
It's
though.
not enough for him. And I get that to a point. It's just, okay, he just gets obsessed with this, I think, and that's really his downfall. Because he wasn't allowed to finish his work and have his work actually come to fruition, this is his opportunity to really put himself on the map as his first thing. Like they talk about in the epilogue, that was his it was his first thing that happened in America. And then in subsequent decades, he did so much more.
That was the part of this movie I was trying to figure out in the epilogue, because the last time we see him on screen before the epilogue is when his wife has OD'd. He basically gives her too much heroin.
Yeah.
Takes her to the hospital and she says, I'm done. Let's go to Israel. Will you please come? I'm going.
Yeah.
Will you please come with me? And he says, I will follow you for the rest of our lives. Yeah. Indicating to us that he's going to Israel. Like, they're going to leave. They are not staying here. They are not going to finish this project. But then at the epilogue, they're showing him in a wheelchair being wheeled by his now very grown-up niece past all of these images of the buildings he has created in the United States. And if you look at the years, it's like 1973, 1976.
Yeah, it's all in the 70s.
And it's in Connecticut,
later.
It's in Philadelphia, it's in places around the world. So did he stay? Did he leave?
Like, I think he left and came back.
He established himself somewhere and then came back.
He at least had unfinished business, because they also said that his first work wasn't completed until he came back in the 70s.
But there was stuff that was predating that. So it said they didn't finish that until 1976 or something, but then he had stuff from the 60s. So yeah, I was just a little unclear like what happened. I don't feel like they really resolved what happened in this movie because there's sort of a jump. There's a very drastic jump in the movie.
There is an abrupt change in what is going on here, because not only, the first half of the movie is him going there, trying to figure things out. He's got things figured out. He's getting his family there. That's part one. That is a very, very standard story movie, okay? Part two is when everything breaks bad. He thinks that he's going to have this grand thing. He's going to be this great architect in America once he gets his family there. And as soon as his wife comes in and she's in the wheelchair, it's not going to be all fucking roses. He realizes that very, very quickly. And as things go on and he more things are revealed about the Guy Pearce character.
And his kid and the family and just people around him in general.
Yeah, it's slowly being doled out to him. These people do not have their best intentions when it comes to me or anybody else around me.
And it gets to the point, and again, another turn I didn't expect. Guy Pearce assaults him.
Yeah.
He sexually assaults him when he is on drugs and can't do anything to make this stop.
Yeah. They make this trip to Italy to get to select the marble that they're going to put in this big mausoleum fucking thing.
And even after that happens, he's basically made this deal with the devil where he is absolutely determined to finish this building, whatever it takes. And even after that, it's like, I don't even know how long. It's like a while.
It's a while, yeah.
That he sticks around even after that happens to him.
Yeah, the turn that happens here in Italy when they're there, I did not see that coming. I don't know if you did.
I didn't. Like, I thought something might happen here because it felt like kind of a weird moment. But then the way it's played out, it's almost like it's just a power trip. It is about dominating this guy and saying, you know, you're so pathetic.
Yeah, I've got you under my thumb.
I'm so much better than you that I can do this to you. And what are you going to do about it? Like, that's how it feels, is that it's literally, truly like a power thing. Like, I see an opportunity to really remind you that you are shit and I am better than you.
In a lot of different ways, because in that same scene, in this speech that he's making, I can't believe that your people treat yourselves so poorly and you guys are just perpetually wanting handouts and all this bullshit about Jewish people.
If you don't want to be persecuted, why do you make it so easy to persecute you?
Exactly. And at the same time,
he's a fucking monster.
He is dominating him in every which way to the point where he completely assaults him while he cannot fight back. And I mean, I didn't hate the guy to begin with because I think he's this American guy who thinks that everybody should have a purpose in life. When he's talking to the wife in the car, when they're picking up both of them to go to the city, he says, I'm going to hook you up with a job. You need to have a job. You need to contribute to society. That's totally an American attitude.
A concept that is like permeating society.
Yeah, everybody needs to have a job and contribute to society.
You need to have a purpose. You need to have a point to you.
It is a uniquely American thing.
And he doesn't tolerate certain attitudes. Like that whole story about his grandparents. He's like, they wanted a fucking handout. And I was like, I'm prepared to do this for you.
I'm testing them to see what they're going to react to if I give them 25 grand. In those days, that's a fuckload of money.
That's an obscene amount of money in 1940, whatever. And then, of course, he didn't sign the check and they come like chasing him begging. And he cannot tolerate beggars. He doesn't like that.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to give handouts.
It's unbecoming, he says later on.
So that's who this guy is. And there's like little sprinkles throughout where he calls people, he uses certain words and he calls people certain things.
Yeah.
And he
lets it slip a lot.
He does. But you can tell this is not a great guy. And you could maybe pass it off as it's the, 1940s and 1950s, and that's how everybody was in America.
It is, but it kind of also is just more under the surface these days.
Yeah.
People don't talk about it in mixed company anymore.
No, but in those days, it was very like, hey, let's have a dinner conversation about how the war was shit. I heard some things about that. Like that scene in the beginning where he invites Laszlo to his house and they're having a dinner party.
Yep.
And the woman next to him has like this absolute ignorance about what
Yes.
the war in Europe was because she's been drinking champagne and living her best life in America.
Yeah.
It was not a problem for her the last 5 or whatever years.
And she converted to Judaism after they got married or before they got married. It doesn't matter. She married a Jewish lawyer who is doing very well in New York City.
But
or
an
Philadelphia
American.
in this case.
He's an American
He's
Jew.
very much an
Yeah.
American, and he hasn't had to deal with the really bad persecution in Europe.
But like she asks such a stupid question like, where's your wife? Why isn't she here? Well, she's still in Europe. Why?
Yeah,
Why do you think, woman?
And Laszlo has to like hold back all of the horror that he experienced. I think if he just laid it all out here, everybody in that room would have been captivated. Because like you said, I think everybody in this room here is just completely sheltered and they have no idea what was happening over there.
No, because they don't have to worry about it. But this is the circle he's found himself in, and these are the people he's found himself with. And then at the end of the movie, it's not him who confronts it, it's his wife who confronts it. She finally literally gets up out of her fucking wheelchair and walks on her walker. She can barely walk, and for this, she is getting her ass over there.
She is standing up for herself and her husband.
And she calls this guy out in front of a room of people. And of course, none of them believe her. And she is literally dragged out of that room. And that was a fucking moment in this movie.
yeah.
Like, okay, now I get why Felicity Jones is in this conversation for
Yeah.
Oscar. Because, yeah, she is like, fuck you. And then gets dragged out while she's screaming, no, 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 this is who
Yeah.
you are, and I'm not taking this shit
Yeah,
anymore.
that fucking son, the son of this guy.
What a piece of shit.
Harry, I think his name is. Yeah, this fucking like douchey McDouche face over here with his groomed hair and groomed suits and just being this silver spooned motherfucker.
He has no purpose. Like, he literally gets called up by Laszlo because he's getting a paycheck from the company
Yeah.
to do fucking what? To do
To
fuck
supervise.
all. He's getting paid to just sit there and go, oh, the lawyer wants to talk to you. Oh, the other architect wants to talk to you.
He's
oh,
being paid to be in the room.
To be a
That's all.
middleman.
To
Yeah.
be present for all of the business transactions.
But yeah, he literally drags this woman out. And when he comes back, his dad has, quote, gone to bed. And then he's running through the house looking for Daddy. Daddy, I made the problem go away. Daddy, Daddy.
Yeah.
Look at me. I'm so... Father.
And we've talked about this before. Anybody who calls their dad father in that way, dude,
Yeah, you are spending your entire
you
life
need to be fucking slapped.
trying to impress this man who does not give a shit.
Yeah, and then finally, as he's getting more and more desperate, he finally says, Dad, Dad. And then when he goes outside, he says, Harrison, Harrison.
Yeah,
What's his name?
He starts calling him his first name instead of father or something. But the next couple of minutes are a search because he's not in the house and he's not on the grounds. And they do not reveal in this movie
Nope.
what happens to this guy. So what do you think happened to him?
Yeah, the filmmakers here, they leave this completely up to the audience because they do not show you shit. I looked it up before we started recording here. There is no answer to this question.
It's whatever do you think
What do
happened to
you
him?
think happened here? And you could say a bunch of different things. You could say he hopped in a car and fucked off. You could say that he found himself honestly, when the son was going through the house and he went into that room at the top of the stairs, I expected to hear a gunshot. Honestly, that was my thought.
I was expecting something like that, or that they would find him in that big monument that he's building to his mommy because he's a mama's boy.
I maybe thought that he was going to be found in there in some kind of state, whatever that happened to be.
But nothing. We got absolutely nothing. And then it's a hard cut to the epilogue. So
In 1980.
it's that thing of you cannot help but be curious, but also it doesn't fucking matter.
No.
It doesn't matter. She got what she wanted out of that situation. She told him that she knows what he did, and she called him out about it.
She upset the apple cart here.
Yeah, and she can live with herself now because she did it.
not only did the truth come out about what he did, but she also did it in front of, I assume, other business partners. And those guys all left the room.
Whether they believe it or not,
yeah,
they heard it.
This is at least a PR nightmare if she starts to talk to the press.
But she doesn't care about any of that. She just cares about her husband.
Right. And this is the final thing that she does here before they leave. And presumably, they're the ones who have the successful career, and who the fuck knows what happens to this family. Frankly, it doesn't matter what happens to them because they do not matter.
Yeah, that's the thing that I've got to ruminate about. Just like, what is the end of this? What is this movie? What does it mean?
Do you have an opinion? Do you have a hypothesis, at least, about what happened to the guy? What did he do?
I feel like you're on the right track where we're supposed to hope, at least, that his shit fell apart, that he killed himself and the family didn't know what to do about it, or he lived to be a miserable old man and his business fell apart. Because they say, the fact that they say this big monument didn't get finished for, another 15 years or whatever.
Yeah, that's also a monument to his failure.
That's what I'm saying. Like, maybe it didn't get complete because he wasn't there to complete it and nobody else was going to do it without him.
So in the way that I am kind of putting this together here, Laszlo goes off. He has a career elsewhere. He makes some money. He comes back. He takes ownership of this building. He uses whatever money he has to buy the building, buy the land, and finish it himself. And that is a monument to him and not the original people. They still call it the Van Buren estate or whatever the fuck it is.
Because it's like on their property, I think. Yeah,
whatever. But at the very least, his name is going to be attached to that forever. But all right, I think that's all I want to talk about here about the movie. Did you have any other little tidbits here before we start talking about Oscars?
I enjoyed the one moment of levity where they brought in another architect and Laszlo's like, come here, come closer.
Yes.
I want you to know everything ugly and expensive and stupid, but mostly ugly, is your fault. That is like the one moment in the movie where he is his purest form. That is the guy he should be. That is the guy he wants to be. That is the man who has all the pride and the skill, and he doesn't need anybody or anyone to stop him from fulfilling this dream. It's the only time in the movie we get to see it.
If he is confident about anything, it is his confidence about his ability with architecture, and he knows that he's the shit. And everybody else is shit.
Yeah. Fuck off, you.
Well, I did have a couple of things here. First of all, I really loved the Italian marble man.
The guy who like blew off his own fingers in the mines or something.
Yes, that guy.
Yeah, I said to you, I literally leaned over in the movie, like, you cannot fathom how big these marble pits are.
Oh, yes.
They're so huge.
Yes. He said that he had only left this community, this town, the city, whatever it is. He left once in order to visit the corpse of Mussolini and to like beat the shit out of it or punch it or something, to personally kick it or do whatever to it. I love that story. I really also love the way the movie opens with the horizontal credits just kind of going from right to left across the screen with the name of the movie featuring, not starring, featuring all of these different actors. And then there's a couple of different like producing and directing credits thrown in there as well. Just how they do the credits at the beginning and at the end with everything going diagonal. That was weird.
That was so bizarre. But I will say, I think that's the biggest strength of this movie, actually, is how the movie looks. Like the way it is presented.
Yeah, presentation is everything here.
I thought it was phenomenal. Like I genuinely loved looking at this movie. All moments of it, because there's, this reverence for architecture. There is these beautiful, like warm, sunny moments. In the brief time you think maybe things are going to be happy, but then there's these also really cold, dark moments. Then there's a lot of light and shadow. Yeah, I think it's phenomenally made. I loved looking at this movie.
And if you're going to be looking at it for almost 4 hours, it's a good thing.
It better be good looking.
Yeah. All right. So Oscars. So this has been nominated for 10 Academy Awards. Going down the list, we got Best Music, Picture of the Year, Directing, performance by an actor in a leading role, performance by an actress in a supporting role, best performance by an actor in a supporting role, best original screenplay, best achievement in cinematography, best achievement in film editing, and best achievement in production design. Wow.
All deserved nominations. Like, I forgot. I'd heard this, but I forgot. They made this movie in 34 days.
Yeah.
In just over a month, you made this movie? That is insane.
Now, to really go behind the scenes here, this movie has basically been in the works for half a decade.
And it's been sitting on a shelf nearly complete or in full completion. They made it in 2023. This movie's been done for 2 years or in some form of being done.
Some form of post-production.
Yeah.
And they knew it was going to come out in 2024. But yeah, they were filming for 34 days, I think you said. But I mean, just to start off, that first one, music. Music is a part of this and you barely even notice it. There is music behind almost every single scene that you're looking at here, and it's so subtle you may not even notice it.
No, apart from the very opening where the score is like enveloping you, it becomes much more subtle throughout the rest of the movie, but always good. I really like the score in there. It's this weird, like, hopeful sound. Like, it literally feels like this is what it would sound like if I wrote music to be the American dream. It feels like old epics, you know, the Once Upon a Time in America, The Godfather, the stuff that people are like, yeah, this is America. I feel so jacked. Like, this is the score that makes me feel powerful and like I'm a part of this country.
Yeah, and then you also have, like, most of this movie is just people sitting around talking. So you also have to accentuate some of the really boring moments as well. The one I was really paying attention to the most is when Guy Pearce is sitting on that couch and they're just having a little tete-a-tete talking about the story of him and his grandparents, okay? You know, presumably this music is just being played in the room that they're in, but because he's just there, it's just him on screen. It's barely cutting back and forth between him and Adrian Brody. But I feel like that particular scene is what was the most present for me. But like you said, the score is ever present in almost every single scene here, and it is well deserved. So I guess we can talk about actors now. Adrian Brody. We like Adrian Brody a whole lot in this house. We have never covered any of his movies on the podcast up to this point.
No, as I said, he made a lot of stuff in the like early 2000s, and it's not that he hasn't made movies. Like, he's done a number with Wes Anderson over the last like 15 years or so, and he's always been working, but never at something high profile like this one. Not this scale. Like, I was not so presently aware of Adrian Brody up until a few months ago being like the Brutalist. He is phenomenal in it.
Right. And I think maybe he was getting away from that type of acting because he wasn't really getting anywhere with it anymore. So, like, he did fucking that Prey movie.
Yeah, I didn't even remember he was in that.
Yeah, so he's doing fucking action movies and shit. Like, okay, that's fine. You want to get a paycheck, I understand. But man, you're Adrian Brody. You want an Oscar. So what are you doing this other bullshit for?
Yeah, he's one of those guys. I think that it was kind of the Oscar curse, as it were, where it wasn't the best thing for him at that time. But I am so glad he's here now because I agree. He's very, very good in this movie. I think what people are saying is extremely well deserved. And if he wins an Oscar for this movie, I'm not going to be upset about it.
Absolutely not.
He literally had me close to fucking tears in the first scene of the movie when he meets his cousin and he's made aware that his wife is alive.
That scene right there got me. Not only because he is so emotional in this moment because, yes, he's seeing his cousin. He's giving him some great news. He's in America. He's seeing a friendly face. Everything is on his face. I can see everything completely emoting out of him. And to just accentuate that, this scene is long. This shot is long. You're focusing on him the entire time, and he never, ever breaks away from that. It is so powerful.
And there's lots of moments like that throughout the movie where we get to see him sad and on drugs and angry and just what the hell am I doing with my life kind of attitude. Like, we get a large range of things that he's going through.
There is definitely an arc of his emotions throughout everything. He's conflicted about working for this guy. He's conflicted about the drugs, and he's trying to score from his work buddy, his friend that he met early on, but his friend is off the drugs and he's okay. I mean, yeah, there's so much going on with this guy.
And he's also still dealing with the horrors that he went through.
Yeah.
Like I said, it carries with him the entire movie. I'm just reminded that when he is on, Adrian Brody is just a really, really good actor.
He's so impressive.
Really good in the right projects.
Yeah, he's really impressive here, and it is well deserved. But the other two people, Guy Pearce. I said it before. I really, really like Guy Pearce, and I haven't seen him in any kind of major role since The King's Speech in like 2012.
Or Iron Man 3. That was around the same time, yeah. So again, another guy who's been in this business for like 25, 30 years, probably 30 years at this point.
About 30 years.
And he's Australian. Like, he's so good and convincing as an evil American.
If you didn't know better, at no time in his entire performance here did he slip once.
And so this award is extremely deserved. He is an evil son of a bitch in this movie. But when we see him show up, he's just generally good at playing an evil son of a bitch because we've seen it before from him. But he's also just an underrated actor. Why that guy is not more famous, I will never understand.
I have said that so many times. Guy Pearce deserves to be a lot more famous than he is.
And he recently, because, he's on the press tours, promoting this movie and campaigning for the Oscar, somebody was talking to him about Memento, which he made with Christopher Nolan before any of us knew who Christopher Nolan was.
Totally.
And he doesn't like his performance in that movie, and he thinks he's bad in it. And I think that's fucking just wrong. I think he's so good in that movie, and he's just gotten better.
Like a lot of different actors will say they're their worst critics, so that's not that surprising, especially when you're that early on in your career. Of course you've gotten better. You've gotten better about what you're doing, but a regular ass run-of-the-mill moviegoer sees a movie like Memento and they tell themselves, that guy's really good. Or at the very least, he's got a good career ahead of him. So I'm very happy that he's being recognized here. Is this his first Oscar nomination?
I want to say he maybe got nominated one other time, but I'm not 100% sure.
All right.
I certainly don't know what for. Maybe it was The King's Speech. That would be the obvious one.
I suppose, yeah. But Felicity Jones is the other one here. And I mean, we had no idea that she was only going to be in part 2.
Only in voiceover in the first half when they're exchanging letters. And I was trying to figure out, I'm like, okay, well, that's her voice. How long is it going to be before they're reunited? How long before we see her?
Yeah.
And it's literally the second half of the movie.
Yeah, and as far as like being a supporting actress award, it is 100% merited here because she is supporting the entire second half of the movie.
And as I said, I like how she's portraying this person. Like, she's no dummy. She is not the gross European, the stereotype, the person that Americans don't want to come over here. She's educated. She is very intelligent. She speaks great English. And she could be doing so much more. And the only reason she isn't is because of her, one, physical health problems, and two, the prejudices against her as a European, basically.
Well, it's also, hey, her husband is already caught up doing this one project. And if he didn't have that, then they themselves as partners would be able to go off and do another thing. When they're having some kind of problem and he says, I need to figure out this problem, she corrects him by saying, no, we need to figure this out. This is a partnership. We're still married here. I've been here for a very short amount of time, relatively speaking. But now that I'm here, we need to figure this out. You need to start sharing things with me. And that's, I think, where he does finally realize, yes, she is still my partner. And I'm sharing things with her that I never thought I would share with anybody, including what happened to him in Italy. So 100% deserved the nomination in this. And honestly, I've just been sitting here thinking, oh shit, we've seen all 5 of these actresses for this particular thing. That never happens. We never see all the supporting people in a category.
We rarely see all of the acting nominations because it feels like there's always 1 or 2 that sneak in from movies that were not nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah, like we're not gonna,
and we don't end up seeking them out.
Like we're not going to see Coleman Domingo in Sing Sing. He's
not
maybe
right
one
now,
of the only
no.
ones that has been nominated that we're not going to watch. But yeah, especially for supporting, it's rare that we've seen them all. I mean, we're going to talk about this more when we do our Oscar special in a couple weeks, but she might be my front runner here.
If you were picking, if you were filling out a ballot.
Yeah, I'm really impressed by this. But I think as far as the rest of the awards here, production design, I think is mainly for that fucking house and
Right.
all the living spaces.
Someone had to build that. And then there's a big reveal at the end that, oh, it's also symbolic of his entire experience in a concentration camp.
Yeah.
And that requires some thought.
Yeah, they also had to, design that building.
And like the library and all of the other architecture throughout.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, that's cool. I think that Brady Corbett being nominated for director is cool. I think that's a good nomination.
Yeah, he's young too.
Yeah. And it's a big movie. It's a big movie with some really cool shots in it. That thing they show in the trailer where he's like smoking a cigarette and there's just, metal work and, grinding.
There's a lot of
sparks.
really great shots in this as well. I mean, when they're all kind of trudging up to the top of the hill when it's cold out and everybody's complaining, that far out shot and just the little tiny people going up the hill. That was a great shot.
Yeah.
All these shots of like the marble stuff in Italy and
doing it in VistaVision, which is a really old school way of making a movie.
Yep.
It makes it feel like the scale is noticeable.
Yeah, we're also talking about the cinematography stuff here as well. Very much deserved because of all the things that we're saying. Like there's also all these shots of the vehicles that they're in from the very beginning of the movie up until like we have this aerial shot of the train going when that gets derailed. Which one thing, as long as we're talking about the train thing, there's the camera on the front of the train kind of looking down on the tracks, but then it also pans up. So that means that either somebody was strapped to that train themselves or they had a remote controlled apparatus to bring the
seems
camera
more
up.
likely. Yeah.
I prefer the mental image of Brady Corbett being strapped to the front of the train.
Wouldn't that be great? Dangerous, but worth it.
Worth it.
I was reminded of when we watched The French Connection and they had that really low camera angle where in the high-speed chase, you have this sense of how dangerous this is.
Yep.
That's what this felt like. Like he's calling back to that because it's like, here's the bus and we're going around the highway, and here's the car and we're low on the highway. It's this like propelling us forward every time we're in any kind of transportation like that. The boat, the train, whatever it is, forward, forward, forward.
Well, Betsy, I am sorry to say we have actually reached the end of our line, so we got to stop talking about The Brutalist here, but
it's a 4-hour movie. You expect us to talk a long time about it.
Yeah, and I don't foresee myself sitting down to watch a movie like this again. I'm really glad that we stuck through the entirety of the credits to see that the crazy credit sequence and hearing the weird music to come. The song at the end of that movie was weird as well.
It's a hard shift.
Yeah.
Very strange. And then silence.
Yeah.
It's a very strange way to end the movie.
The last minute of that movie is just complete silence. There's one song to play over the credits and that's it. But all right. That's the end of The Brutalist. We got 2 more to go. But if you would like to tell us what you thought about The Brutalist, email us, neverseenitpod@gmail.com. Not just about this movie, any movie we have covered, any of the Oscar stuff we've already covered. Send us your thoughts. Just like our superfan Stephanie always does every single week, we appreciate you, Stephanie, coming through in a pinch. She sent us an email about Dune Part 2.
She's also working through the Oscar movies.
Yeah, she's got a lot more than we have left to go. She says, I finally watched Dune Part 2. I liked it more than the first one, but I'm not obsessed with it. I would definitely watch it again. There were some very cool scenes like the sandworm and the fight scenes. It's a really good cast, but do we really need all these famous people? I mean, is Christopher Walken necessary in this movie? However, I feel like there are some major pacing issues. It felt very slow in sections and then very abrupt at the end. I feel ya. I also think that it is kind of the way of things to get all these young, hot people on your screen.
I also haven't watched it since like May. So
Yeah, we saw it in the theater, and yeah, it's been a while.
I liked it though. I think I don't recall exactly if I liked it better than the first one. I definitely had a lot more feelings than the first one.
I like 2 and 1 for different reasons.
Yeah, they're different movies, certainly.
Yeah. But the answer to your question, yes, Christopher Walken is necessary.
Isn't he always?
He is. She finishes by saying, as far as the Oscars are concerned, I do not think that this is Best Picture material. Ooh. Shots fired. But maybe the others are as bad as Amelia Perez. More shots fired. If that is the case, then give Dune the Oscar. Love you guys from Superfan Stephanie. Man, I'm really loving the hate for Amelia Perez.
She's got a lot of viewings to go. We'll see if anything surpasses or becomes worse than Dune or Amelia Perez. I doubt it because, you know, there's been a lot of talk this week about Amelia Perez.
Well, yeah, the week that we are recording this has been a whole lot of stuff that has been coming out, and it's not all that great.
No,
not about the movie, though.
You can just Google that for yourselves.
Yeah.
We're not unhashing that here.
Yeah, we've already said our piece about Amelia Perez. Go and listen to that episode that is already out there. But speaking about other episodes, Betsy, did you know that we do like 5 or 6 other shows every single month?
I was aware because I am there as
You're
well.
always here for those. Go over to patreon.com/neverseenitpod where you can get a whole bunch of extra premium bonus content from me and Betsy. But with that is going to be the end of The Brutalist. Betsy, we have 2 more Oscar-nominated movies left to go before Oscar Sunday. What are we doing next week?
Listen, we've been really upfront about the fact that the last 2 movies are not readily available in our area, so we have had to scramble a little bit. We've had to wait a long time, but we're finally able to announce that the next movie we're going to be doing is Nickel Boys. We are finally going to be able to watch this movie and the next one. We've got it all lined up. We have our plan. So look out for those 2 episodes in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, Nickel Boys is coming up next. And then, of course, I'm Still Here will be the final one before Oscar Sunday. But until next week, my name is Trent.
My name is Betsy.
We'll catch you next week for another episode of Never Seen It.
Thanks, everybody.